Hi, my name is Bryce Button. I'm the Director of Product Marketing here at AJ Video Systems, and we're at IBC 2017, having just had a wonderful week of great new announcements. So I just want to share some of the new goodies with you. Right here, I have what's called the I/O 4K Plus. This is a brand new Thunderbolt 3 device that allows you to capture and to output through a range of ports. So if I turn it around for you, you'll see that there are 4 12G SDI ports. So that means you're able to support 12G, 6G, 3G, 1.5G SDI. So if you're doing streaming, for instance, you could use these 4 ports and say bidirectional for all sorts of things. Everything from a single cable for 4K capture because of the 12G SDI, or you could be doing 4 channels of HD streaming using software like Wirecast, for instance, to literally live switch to your stream. You also have an HDMI 2.0 port. Being 2.0, that means you can support high frame rate 4K, and again, you can also support HDR workflows. So there are a lot of options going on here. The audio breakout is very flexible. It's a DB25 Tascam style port. You could do 8 channels audio in, 8 channels audio out, or 4 in and 4 out. So a lot of flexibility. You'll see that the power is XLR connection. That means you can be mobile, you can be in all sorts of environments. So continuing on with the HDR concept, which you're going to see a lot more of, you got to remember that if you're doing display work, for instance, a large LED display is used for shows, already have very high brightness nit levels, all the way up to 1,000 is pretty common. So HDR is very well suited for this. One of our other announcements was updates for the KeyPro Ultra Plus. This 2.0 version's firmware enables a couple of things, including ProRes XQ support all the way up to 2K, which means you've got really high resolution deep color support, plus the ability to now utilize the HDMI 2.0 to its full glory. And what that means is putting out 4K, for instance, at higher frame rates, and being able to take the HDR signal if you've got HDR materials that you're playing back. So we've simply added within the menu system the ability to go in and set the info frame data. Info frame data is essentially what tells the HDMI display, hey, you're receiving HDR materials, please swap into this mode and display the broader range of color and the higher dynamic range that really is the aesthetic that we've all been looking for with HDR. So that will be free firmware that you'll be able to download from the AJA website. Let's take a look finally at some updates for Hilo, which is our latest streaming device. This is Hilo. Hilo is our standalone H.264 recorder and streaming device. It's got both SDI and HDMI for input. You're able to connect to any CDN that you care for. In fact, we create the ability within our manual for you to figure out the settings quickly for your major CDNs, anything from Wowzer to Facebook, etc. What we have done for the show is that we have a new version of firmware that is coming out, version 2.0, with some really nice features. One of the additions is the ability to now do 360 minutes in a single go, in other words, for a single clip, for .mov files, alongside TS files, for instance. This gives you the ability to record constants, everything you need to, that are running obviously for an extended time period, to a USB stick that you might have put in, a hard drive you might have connected, or even an SD card. Another addition with this firmware is that within the GUI, as you can see here, this is obviously the software that is actually just served through a browser. So every Hilo device has got a built-in web server that serves the interface. And as you can see here, you're literally getting visual feedback of what it is that you're capturing or streaming. This is wonderful because if the Hilo happens to be attached to a camera or to something like a KeyPro Ultra Plus recorder, then you'd be able from a distance to simply log in and say, hey, I can see all is good, I'm getting an update, and I've got visual imagery that confirms that all is well. So if you want to learn more about all the additions that we've come out with and all the brand new products from AJ at IBC 2017, please just visit www.aja.com and you'll find right off the homepage Two key items. One is the What's New page, and the other is that we have a new solutions page, so that, for instance, if you're just getting into HDR or you want to look at what Thunderbolt 3 makes possible, you can just take a look at those solutions pages. We'll educate you a little bit in terms of the HDR standards, what can be done with Thunderbolt, with the various versions of Thunderbolt, and what AJA's solutions are to help you get your projects done. Thank you very much.